Hey guys, Jake from Michigan. Quick video for you today. Sorry if I'm squinting a lot in today's video, looking back towards the sun, and depending on if there's cloud cover or not, it can reflect off the snow and it's pretty bright. But I chose this location. I wanted to use this location because I think it will complement today's video pretty well. Lately, we've been discussing a lot of timber projects, a lot of things we can be doing right now on our properties in the timber with cutting trails, cutting bedding areas. And while that's still the case, now is a great time in the dormant season to have a chainsaw in your hand and work on your timber projects. I kind of wanted to shift gears a little bit today to talk about something else that you can be doing on your property, and that's evaluating which areas of your property need to be screened off. Right now is a great time to be walking around your property, evaluating which areas need to be screened off, which are the higher priority areas, because right now your property looks fairly similar to what it's going to look like during some of the hunting season. Once those leaves fall down, you get that first heavy wet snow, it's going to look somewhat similar to what it looks like right now. And depending on the year, you might get that first heavy wet snow in late October or early November. But even if winter holds off a little bit, you don't get that heavy wet snow until after you're done hunting, the leaves are still going to come down around the same time every year. And once those leaves fall off the trees, they fall off the bushes, those weeds start to die back after the frost, you're going to be able to see a lot further into your property. An area that looked like it was screened off in the summer or maybe even early on in the hunting season, might not be screened off once those leaves fall off the trees, the bushes, those perennial and annual weeds and grasses kind of die down and lay down after the frost. You're going to be able to see too far, and that could really have a negative impact on the hunting on your property. And the reason that it would likely have a negative impact on your hunting opportunities is because not only can you see a long way when certain areas of your property aren't screened off, but so can the deer. And that means that it's going to be a lot harder for you to get to and from different stand locations without those deer seeing you. And the more you spook deer on your property, the less likely they're going to be using your property during daylight. And if you continue to spook deer on your property, even if they're coming in there nocturnally, you could push them off your property entirely. So again, having your property screened off is extremely important to your hunting success. And while there are a lot of areas on your property that need to be screened off, really anywhere where you, the hunter, can see into an area that you're trying to encourage deer behavior or deer movement, in this video, I want to really just focus on two areas, and that's food plots and your access. And that's one of the reasons why I chose this location for today's video. But before we dive into this example on my property, I just want to talk about something that you guys can be doing right now to evaluate which areas of your property need to be screened off. And it's really as simple as taking the family for a walk down your access and through your food plots. Walk your entire access trail start to finish. Start at the truck, end at your stand location. If there's ever a time along your access route that you can see into where you're trying to encourage deer movement, then that is an area that needs to be screened off. And again, right now is a great time to evaluate that because all the leaves are down, all the vegetation is down. If it's screened off right now, it's going to be screened off during the hunting season. And here's a quick tip for screening off your access for those of you guys that have a little bit of elevation change on your property. If along your access route there's just a little bit of a hill, try to use that bottom part of the hill to hide your access. If you can use topography, a little hill, a ditch to shield your movement from the deer activity, that's just going to save you from having to screen off your entire access route. But for those of you guys that don't have a whole lot of elevation change, your property is fairly flat, especially around your access route, we are going to have to do a lot more when it comes to screening. The other improvement on your property that you need to make sure is screened off are your food plots. And again, right now is a great time to evaluate which food plots need to be screened off or which parts of your food plots need to be screened off because you can just see way too far. And that's the reason why I brought you guys to this section of my property, and that's because I'm standing on the north line of one of my food plots. And as you can see, this is the line right here. You can kind of see the flag right here. That's the north line of my food plot right here. But as you can see, we can see way too far. So we put this food plot in last year. We've been on the property for about 2 years now, and we haven't had a chance to screen off this edge yet. And my property line just to give you guys some perspective, is 50 yards from the north line, the north edge of this food plot. So my access is 50 yards north, and you might be able to see it, you might not be, it's probably out of focus, but there is an orange no trespassing sign with a pink ribbon or flagging tape on a tree back there. That's my property line. And so you can see I'm standing in the food plot right now, and you can see my access and you can see my neighbor's property. So if I'm walking to and from a stand location, I can't just walk down my property line while there's deer in this food plot. That would make it very difficult for me. And so one thing that we need to try to address soon, this year, is we're going to be screening off the north edge of this food plot. So we're going to be most likely doing a combination of different screens. We're going to probably layer the screen. In this situation here, we're going to most likely do a little bit of a switchgrass screen, as well as we're going to hinge cut some of these maples to the north to give kind of a feathered edge along the north half of the food plot here. So, but with the switchgrass that will eventually get 5-6 feet tall, with the trees that are down, the maples that are going to come down, and the basswood here, that's going to thicken up the edge a little bit, allow more sunlight along that edge, more new growth. So over time, my property will be screened off right here. But I just want to show you guys, this is something that you do not want to see. This is an area on my property, the north edge of this food plot, along with the access 50 yards north of me along my property border, is 100% an area that needs to be addressed with screening. But guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you can, try your best to get on your property to evaluate which areas need to be screened off. Place extra focus on those access routes and your food plots. Access and screening, those are just two of the many things that we take into consideration. We're putting a habitat design, a habitat plan together for our clients. Thanks again for watching, and please let us know if we can help you change your property for good.